Qatar National Bank sees $1.1 billion in Q1 net profit, and Egypt's inflation surges to 32.7% in March. You're watching The Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Qatar National Bank saw $1.1 billion in net profit in Q1 2023, marking a 7% year-on-year rise. QNB's operating income hit $2.5 billion in the quarter, marking a year-on-year rise of 20%, driven by diversified sources of revenue. QNB's total assets touched $324.1 billion in Q1, mainly driven by good growth in loans and advances by 6%. Customer deposits rose by an annual 5% to $227.4 billion during the period, with the loans-to-deposit ratio reaching 97.9%. Egypt's headline inflation surged to 32.7% in March, almost hitting an all-time high due to an increase in food prices fueled by Ramadan-related high demand. Annual urban consumer prices in March increased by 2.7% month-on-month from 6.5% in February and 4.7% in Jan. Egypt's rising inflation followed a foreign currency shortage, controls on imports, and a series of devaluations that began in March 2022 and caused the Egyptian pound to nearly halve in value. Bitcoin breached the key $30,000 level for the first time in 10 months today, adding to its steady gains. Bitcoin has risen about 6% since the start of the month, after rising 23% in March. Investors are raising bets that the U.S. Federal Reserve will soon end its aggressive monetary tightening. Banking sector turmoil has raised market expectations that the Fed won't lift interest rates much higher for longer as it looks to ease stress on the sector. Investors are finally set to gain access to more than $33 billion of Ether this week under a planned revamp of the blockchain. A new software upgrade to the Ethereum blockchain called Shapella will let market players redeem the staked Ether coins they've had locked up on the network for 3 years in return for interest. About 15% of all Ether is staked, totaling $33.73 billion in market value. Alibaba has revealed its generative AI model, its version of the tech that powers ChatGPT, and it says it will be integrated into all of its apps in the near future. In a film demonstration, the AI large language model drafted invitation letters, planned trip itineraries, and advised shoppers on types of makeup to purchase. It will initially be integrated into Alibaba's workplace messaging app and can be used to summarize meeting notes, write emails, and draft business proposals. It will also be added to Alibaba's voice assistant. Meanwhile, Alibaba's unveiling was swiftly followed by the government's publication of draft rules on how generative AI services should be managed. The draft law states that all new AI products must undergo a security assessment. Officials say the draft law aims to ensure the healthy development and standardized application of generative AI technology. The law states that AI-generated content must reflect core socialist values and must not contain content on subversion of state power or other content that may disrupt economic and social order. China's consumer inflation hit an 18-month low in March on persistently weak demand. In contrast to surging prices globally, China's retail and producer inflation has remained anemic as the consumer and industrial sectors struggle to recover from their pandemic hit. The consumer price index rose 0.7% year-on-year, the slowest pace since September 2021. Analysts say the Chinese economy is running a disinflation process, which points to bigger room for monetary policy easing to boost demand. Kazakhstan has begun international arbitration court proceedings against energy majors over $16.5 billion in costs deducted from the revenues from 2 oil fields. The vast Kashagan field is run by the North Caspian Operating Company Consortium, which is made up of Kazmunaygaz, Eni ExxonMobil, Royal Dutch Shell, Total Energies, China National Petroleum Corporation, and INPEX. The dispute is because the operating companies have been deducting certain costs from revenues before dividing it with the government under production sharing agreements. Boeing reportedly intends to restore production of its best-selling 737 MAX jet to its 2019 rate of 52 jets a month by January 2025. It's aiming to fully recover from 2 deadly crashes and the COVID-19 pandemic that curtailed output. As Boeing fights to recover from those crises, faster rollouts of the lucrative MAX are seen as the most critical task ahead for the plane maker. Let's take a look now at today's Forbes Real-Time Billionaires ranking. It tracks the daily ups and downs of the world's richest people. Our biggest winner today is Gautam Adani, up $2.6 billion with net wealth of $46.7 billion. Our second biggest winner today is LVMH's Bernard Arnault, up $2.2 billion with net wealth of $225.3 billion. And our third place winner is Mexican telco mogul Carlos Slim Hello, up $1.2 billion with net wealth of $94.5 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest Billionaires news. The IMF says 44 countries have expressed interest in borrowing from its $40 billion Resilience and Sustainability Trust. The facility was created to help channel excess IMF special drawing rights reserves from wealthier countries to poor and vulnerable middle-income countries. It's meant to provide long-term concessional financing for climate change adaptation and transitioning to cleaner energy sources. IMF and World Bank member countries will discuss this week ways to dramatically scale up climate-related lending. I'm Ramya Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.